Welcome to Universal Sports Gamer Season 1, Week 3 Radio. Just want to let you know we're approaching into the third week of our season. We've got some winners, we got some losers, we got a bunch of great things going on. For the most part, we're getting our games in on time. There's great activity level. As you can see in the background, we have a couple games going on right now, actually just one game going on involving one of our newest members, the Minnesota Twins, who started off his career in the USG with a victory over the Colorado Rockies, tough opponent up there from Jersey. So congratulations to Minnesota for getting off on the right foot with a nice victory. Also, another new member with the Chicago White Sox, Dixon Puck. He's a hockey player. He thinks it carries over to the diamond, but he has yet to prove that he can do that successfully. No, I'm just kidding with you, Sticks. Welcome aboard. So 2 new members, both with Minnesota, and they're with the Chicago White Sox guys. Get at them and help them get caught up as soon as you can. Quick thing, I don't want to have to address it again, but pitching, one more time. We will not govern pitching. If the ball is in the dirt, you don't swing. If it's over the head of the catcher, you do not swing. I do not think that is something that should even be considered with whether someone is playing in a sportsmanlike manner or not. If they are not throwing strikes, you don't swing. That's the bottom line. Quick steals is something that has also come up, and really I'm not too familiar with it yet, but as far as my understanding, if a guy is stealing early, you need to step off. Typically, it's going to hurt those who quick pitch. What they're doing is you're timing the release of the ball. You know if they're going to throw it after 2 seconds after catching it every time, you're going to steal on one. What we recommend is for the pitcher to take your time, throw with different delivery lengths on when you decide to throw it, and if the runner is going, you step off, you throw it to second, throw it to first. You just need to pay a little bit more attention on the mound. As of now, we're not implementing anything against quick stealing. I don't think there is a need. The other thing is quick pitching. I've played a game, and in some of the feedback I've received, guys are quick pitching. What that means is you're throwing it the second it gets back there. That makes it complicated when you have runners on. So if you're pitching and all of a sudden you see your opponent hitting that L3 button, bringing up the strike zone every time, or doing a practice swing, that might mean that you're throwing a little bit too quick. You need to sit back. You don't need to rush through these games. We're not saying slow it down and snail's pace, but at the same time, let the batter get in there for a second. Let him take a lead if he needs to and make your pitch. And for batters, if you see your guy is throwing too quick, press that L3 button, give him a couple warnings, hold it down. That's the best way to communicate. Let's talk about the activity schedule. So far, we will be opening it up. So at 1 week from today, which will be May 9th, we should have 6 games played. Requirement for all teams to have 6 games in the books. As of now, you can play up through game number 9. I have unlocked 1 more game, so you can play any of your top 9. So that's 3 ahead after the completion of this week. That should be plenty. There's a few teams that are getting sent to the bullpen for not getting your games done in time. The Seattle Mariners, the Rising, where have you been? Same thing with Milwaukee and the Mets. Seattle, Milwaukee, and the Mets. Get your games in, guys. 2 a week. White Sox and Twins, we know you're brand new, so we're not throwing you to the bullpen yet, but just do the best you can to get your games, get caught up. Let's have 6 done by the end of this week. Also, a reminder to go ahead and put your games in the schedule. I'm going to see if I can pull up right now the list I have for teams who have not entered their schedule entirely on League Daddy. Come on, guys. We're not making the requirements too difficult, but the Rockies, the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Diamondbacks, the Mets, the Braves, the Marlins, the Rays, the Mariners, the A's, the Red Sox, and the White Sox, as well as the Twins. Enter your schedule on League Daddy. What you need to do, go onto the schedule on the PS3, go onto your computer, and enter them. Now, if your opponent beats you and enters it in for you, good. But at the same time, don't be lazy. Don't rely on your opponents. Get them in yourselves. If you notice there is an error, send me an email, and I will fix it relatively quickly. All right. Let's talk about who's hot. Who's hot in the USG? Brian Roberts, number one, you're hot. You're smoking. You're hitting .591 with 4 home runs on the season. Also, Ryan Howard and Derek Lee, you are hot. Ryan Howard may have even hit his 5th home run the other night. I don't believe it has been entered into the books yet. And Derek Lee, you were on the Who's Cold list last week. Well, I see you got a little upset, went and hit 2 bombs in a game versus the Phillies to get you in the Who's Hot column. I think Ryan Howard's bomb came against the Yankees in the upset where last week's commission's number 1 went down to the upstart New York Yankees. But more on the top teams in a minute. In the meantime, the Who's Not for Week 3. Fatty CC Sabathia, 8 earned runs in only 9 innings pitched. You are not hot. As long as we're talking about the Yanks, let's talk about the Red Sox. The Red Sox, you are not hot. You are not in the top 10 in points for, a.k.a. runs for. You are not in the top 10 for runs against. You're averaging 2.4 runs per game. Terry Francona would not be amused up there in Boston. Let's get those bats going, V. Mark, Ellsbury, Ortiz. Come on, boys. And finally, the Who's Not of the Week goes to Vernon Wells. Slugging. Hitting for a 1.67 average. I repeat, Vernon Wells in Toronto. You're batting 167. You have 2 runs scored and 2 RBIs. You're playing for a good team there. But what's going on there, Mr. Vernon? You are not hot Week 3. Now, let's go to the Commissioner's Power Poll Top 5. At number 5, the Dodgers, led by C-Stall. The only losses coming to Baltimore and St. Louis, 2 other top 5 teams. Number 4 in the Commissioner's top 5 power ranking, Sobey and the Cardinals. The only loss coming to Toronto. Speaking of Toronto, number 3, Halos Nation of the Blue Jays. He did lose to the Braves, who are 1-4, so not quite sure how that happened, Halos, and you've been quiet since then. You were all over the boards in the chat room playing a bunch of games. All of a sudden, you take a loss, and you have yet to be seen in the last 4 to 5 days. Where are you, Halos? But don't worry, you're still sitting at number 3 in the Commissioner's Power Poll. At number 2, from Philadelphia, the Phillies, led by STW. They lost a big game last night, witnessed here live on Saturday Night Baseball to the New York Yankees. So number 1, the Orioles, led by Balls Baby, has a plus 42 run differential. He is 6-0 on the year. Orioles and Phillies swapping spots going into number 3. But the Orioles hold down the number 1 spot in the Commissioner's Power Poll. I will be traveling this Thursday until Monday, so don't expect the release of USG Radio Week 4 until next Monday night. There's a potential we'll get it out Thursday, but likely not. We may even have some live interviews coming to you from South Florida. But other than that, that's a wrap on Week 3. Keep getting your games in, boys. Those of you who are behind, catch up. Keep the communication lines going. Reminder to schedule your games, send an email, and post in the forums. I'm hearing a little bit of complaint here and there about not getting communicated. So send the email, post in the forums, shoot it out a few at a time, and by the end of the week, let's have 6 games played by everybody. As always, hit me up with any questions. Gentlemen, enjoy your week. You're listening to the Universal Sports Gamer Radio.